Hey guys, so I was prompted by Mr. P in the comments to do an update on my NFTs from the video that I did about 6 weeks ago now. So if you haven't seen that, probably best to just go back and have a watch of that first. I think probably watching the two together would sort of give you most of my thoughts on the space. Um, Obviously, this none of the channel is sort of financial advice, but yeah, this sort of these couple of videos in particular really aren't financial advice. Sort of a fairly sort of murky world, a lot of sort of rug pull projects as they're called. People sort of just running off with all of the money that has been given to them. But yeah, if you're interested in getting into it, then this is sort of the way that I'm doing things. So you sort of add the Phantom wallet as a sort of Chrome extension or Firefox extension, whichever, or Brave, whichever platform, uh, yeah, whichever internet browser you use, and you sort of get given the sort of icon at the top right hand corner there. So you'll get the Phantom icon, and yeah, so that is sort of your wallet built into the browser. So you can set up multiple wallets, but it'll have your sort of main wallet. That's your wallet address up there. Says your amount of Solana, or sort of total. I think that'd be your total. Um, if you've got other coins in there, USDC, say, and Solana, maybe you've got $17,000 in there. But yeah, it sort of gives you how much you're up by and that sort of thing. And then sort of the other tabs in here, you can exchange coins for other coins. Probably not recommended to do that within here because there's fees, like with most wallets. I think that's probably how they make a good part of their money. And the little icon here, you can sort of view your NFTs within the wallet. But I do sort of find a site like Magic Eden, if you click the sell icon, so if you click the sell icon here, then it just sort of gives you a better rundown of sort of all of your NFTs. It gives you the floor price for each one, so that'd be the sort of minimum value that you could sell all of the ones in your wallet for. And yeah, just seems sort of a better way of viewing what you've got, basically, rather than just sort of this simplistic view of sort of looking at each one that you've got. So yeah, that's the wallet that I use. And yeah, so when you buy, it'll come up with a little prompt here to sort of say that that's how much. Say say it's half a Sol, half a Solana. It'll come up saying it's going to deduct half a Solana from your wallet, and you authorize that. So there is a certain amount of sort of security there. In theory, every transaction that comes up, it should give you a prompt and an estimate of how much it's going to cost, or how much you're going to receive if you're sort of listing things and selling things. Obviously, you sort of put the NFTs up for sale, so you're not directly selling to someone. You put it up for, say, 1 Sol, and somebody will buy it, so you don't ever get a prompt to say you will get 1 Sol. But you list, and there'll be a sort of small listing fee. I think on Magic Eden at the moment it's sort of 0.00145 Sol, which is sort of 20, about 15p, 20p at the moment. So it's not a great deal to list on there. And buying at the moment seems to be free, so that's pretty good. There's other platforms. One of the It's one of the projects that I'm in on Salon Art. I've got it on Magic Eden, but you can also get it on Salon Art. But it seems selling on here is about 0.03 sol. So it's about 2.5 times the cost of Magic Eden. And they've got some sort of tie-up where if you hold a certain NFT, then you can reduce the fees on here. But it just seems sort of a little bit more expensive to list. But if you do see anything that you want to buy on here, from my experience, I don't think there's any fees to buy. So that's the same as Magic Eden. And you can, if you buy on here, then it'll just go into your wallet, and you could then potentially sell on Magic Eden. So there is a sort of arbitrage possibility, if you like. If a project, say, is on both and it's cheaper on here, you could buy on here and sell on Magic Eden for a small gain. Or if you just want to get better prices. So yeah, that's that. And so having a look at the 4 projects that I showed in the first video. So this was Cinesole, sort of a film art project, sort of distorted still photos from various films. This was, I think the floor price for this was about 0.05 when I made the first video, so it's now down at sort of 0.03, so it's dropped a little bit. The devs, the sort of developers in the Discord haven't been on in a little while. I don't think this is sort of a rug pull. They were there at Christmas time and sort of New Year time, and just sort of mentioning that they were having time away with the family and that sort of thing. But obviously people sort of then start to suspect after a little while that they've just run off. So I think this is probably prompting some people to sort of list fairly low, just wanting to sort of get out. But yeah, I'll see where this one goes. Obviously it is essentially just an art project, so there isn't a huge amount more that they would sort of do on the project other than sort of promote it and market it a bit, where sort of other tokens are based on games or sort of platforms and that type of thing. They're obviously developing something after releasing the sort of the NFTs. This one is essentially just artwork. If you like it, then you buy, and yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, we'll see where this one goes. I bought quite a few. I suppose technically if I were to list them all at floor price now, then I would be down, but yeah, I'm fairly happy. So next one was Baby Yoda. So this was sort of in my early days where I was not just buying anything, but I was a little bit more sort of frivolous in what I was buying. Sort of saw this as a bit of Star Wars. Yeah, sort of Star Wars series coming out. I think this was sort of leading up to the new Boba Fett series on Disney Plus, and so I just sort of thought there'd be a bit of buzz on Star Wars. It was sort of a more bullish time for Solana anyway, so a lot of projects were selling for a lot more, but yeah, this one was sort of I think 0.25 Sol floor price, so this one is down quite a bit. I think I bought in total about 8 of these, and when it sort of dropped down, I bought a couple more, so I had about 10 in total. So lost a little bit on these, but I think I might just cut the loss. The devs don't seem to be doing a huge amount with it. They've sort of issued a token called Yoda, and they sort of airdropped that to holders. So I got You get 10,000 per NFT, and I think I had 7 at the time, so I got 70,000 Yoda, but there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of use for it. It's usable on, I think it's Sol Bets, it's sort of a poker, well, not poker, sort of a primitive casino, really. I think they're looking to add more games and that sort of thing, but at the moment there's sort of a very simple dice roll that you can bet on, or sort of even just a coin toss. Very, very sort of simplistic betting games, and yeah, you probably end up losing all of that, but it's obviously an airdropped token. So yeah, not hugely impressed with this. I am sort of thinking I'll just put them up for sale and maybe take the loss and sort of get into something that I think has a little bit more use. Yeah, not really keen on anything that is just kind of an avatar or a profile picture for Twitter and that sort of thing. Kind of more keen on sort of games and platforms and that sort of thing. Which leads me on to Metabirds. So this has done quite well. This is sort of a mini game platform on Solana that they're developing, hoping to. So it's sort of, they're intending people to sort of launch new sort of games on their platform. It's going to hopefully be on iOS and Android. So you'll sort of download. I think they're now calling it the Nest Arcade app, and a NFT play to earn arcade platform, and other people will sort of list their games on this platform, and Metabirds is going to be one of their sort of first games as well, so they're releasing their own game. Yeah, and they're sort of hoping to have, I think, demos of the game and yeah, sort of early workings of the platform coming up sort of in the next month. So looking very promising. The devs are very active on Discord and that sort of thing. And this one was at, I think, 0.24 Sol when I did the previous video. So that was about 6 weeks ago. And yeah, we're now at 2.2 Sol. So getting on for sort of 8 times, 9 times the price at what I bought at. So I think I bought a couple of these at 0.2 Sol and a couple at 0.5. So quite heavily up on that now. Yeah. And next one was SGF United. So this is a sort of, when I showed it, and originally it was going to be a sort of 2D beat 'em up style game, but they've actually pivoted from that. The devs sort of saying they didn't really feel like the game was progressing to something that they wanted, and they're sort of pivoting to a sort of augmented reality shooter. Not sure whether they mean sort of a first-person shooter type game. Not really seen many augmented reality games, but they're sort of saying they should have a demo hopefully fairly soon, or some sort of first looks of a demo, and they're also sort of updating the artwork and going for sort of 3D NFTs, which will be sort of airdropped on a one-to-one basis. So if you hold one of these, then you'll get one of the new sort of upgraded 3D NFTs for free. But yeah, so this one was about the same floor price when I showed it previously. It has been higher. Did sort of go to pretty much double this, about 0.25 Sol recently, and I think it's probably sort of dropped down. Maybe partly because of the pivot sort of away from the game into sort of a different style of game, and just general sort of a long time has passed now, and sort of not had too many developments on the game front, so you get a lot of people sort of listing lower and lower, wanting to get out and sort of move on to the next hot new project. So yeah, I'm kind of still sort of fairly bullish and waiting to see what they can develop on that. And then a couple of new ones that or sort of not new, I've been in these for about a month now, but since the previous video I didn't show these, so strange name for this one, 00RR0R. Not sure whether it's supposed to be error, but yeah, this one sort of ignore the artwork pretty much. It's just sort of basic artwork, but this is essentially a sort of platform token. So it's sort of the developer helps launch various projects. So he's launched sort of these 6, and the people that sort of want to launch for every 100 NFTs that they want to launch, they have to buy one of the error tokens, and generally they end up getting burnt, so that reduces the total supply. So it was originally 1666 total supply, and I think sort of 150 of those have now been burnt, so reduces the total supply down to about 1500. Yeah, and sort of you also get some sort of opportunities as holders to sort of get in on the mints of any of these projects that you like the look of. Some of these are done quite well. Yeah, and quite like the idea of this sort of platform. So fairly happy with that. And last but not least, Vischev. So this one is a sort of space combat type game, a little bit sort of Elite Dangerous like. If you've seen Elite Dangerous, maybe sort of look up some videos on them. But yeah, this one sort of got into a little while ago. It's sort of been about 0.6 to sort of 1 sol for quite a while. They did sort of release I think an alpha of the game, and it sort of got a bit of buzz going, and it did sort of go up to sort of 2.5 sol. So yeah, it's been an interesting one, but sort of more happening. There is a little video on, well, there's a few videos on YouTube really of sort of the game in action. It is live now on their website, and they've sort of got single player and multiplayer available. But the other thing they're sort of doing is partnering with other projects to sort of have NFTs as playable characters in their game. So this is sort of another project, the Skellies, and you can sort of input that into the game and have that as your playable character. So if people like their particular project, then maybe you can have that as your character, and that's quite nice. I like the sort of link between other projects, and they've got some of the biggest projects on Solana really. Sort of, I think Degenerate Ape Academy and Thugbirds and that sort of thing. I sort of mentioned Thugbirds before. They're sort of, can't remember what they're at now, but it was sort of 50 sol per one, so they're a sort of huge project, and you can sort of have them as playable character. And yeah, this is sort of the game. It's sort of in early stages, but yeah, looks quite good. They're sort of, as I say, they've got live multiplayer, which I think you have to hold one of the tokens to be able to play. And yeah, I won't show too much, but you can have a look on their website. And yeah, that seems a fairly good one. As I say, I quite like anything that's got sort of a real working game. So that is certainly that. So that is kind of mostly what I'm in. I'm in some smaller sort of projects here and there, which I won't really mention because they're not hugely my focus at the moment. I'm kind of trying to sell out of anything that is sort of, as I say, just a profile picture, if you like, or an avatar, if it hasn't got sort of something of real use behind it, then yeah, I'm trying to sort of get out and push more into this type of thing, really. So I am up as of today. I sort of show 19 sol, about 19 sol on my portfolio review, and I'm up at about 24 sol. So yeah, not doing too bad. When I did the previous video, I was down, and also down in sol terms. So yeah, I was below 19 sol, and sol had gone down, so I was sort of doubly down. But now I'm actually up in sol terms, although sol obviously has dropped. So from the previous video was the 26th, I believe, November. So we were at about £145 sol, and now down at sort of £110. I was very tempted to buy a little bit in the sort of just under £100, but I didn't. I was waiting for the inflation news on Wednesday, or today rather. But yeah, I didn't buy. Might still buy, but yeah. So even though I'm in sort of profit in Solana terms, Solana has dropped. So in sort of straight cash, I think I am still down. But yeah, we'll see where we go. Hopefully the crypto market as a whole is taking a little bit of an uptrend. Seems sort of not too bad in the last couple of days. So we'll see where we go. If you got any questions on these, then yeah, feel free to drop them in the comments, and like and subscribe. See you soon.